Well, welcome to Imperfect Together. We are back. I am Chris, and this is my man Sutton Edens. How you doing,
sir.
Sutton?
Doing good.
Sutton on break from college.
Yes, sir.
You don't go back till like later.
No, I have 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks to hang out
start late.
Back down to Houston, baby.
Oh, Houston. Gonna be a tugboat driver.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully, go to college, be a boat captain, and travel.
There you go.
That's the plan, man.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I like being on the water.
Yeah.
So today we are talking about fear.
Oh.
So when I think of fear, I think of phobias.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you're afraid of? Like some phobias you have?
Arachnophobia. Spiders, man.
You know any spiders?
As a child, my older brother had a tarantula.
No.
And he would get the little box.
Yeah.
And then he'd bang on that box, and that spider would go nuts. And
Did you ever get out?
Oh yeah.
Like I think of Home Alone.
Dude, that's exactly. I felt like Marv, or is it Marv?
The older brother?
No, a criminal.
Oh, yeah.
The spiders on him and he gets beaten with the crowbar. Yeah, so I was like sleeping, like I felt something tickle, and I was like,
oh.
It was a spider, and dude, ever since then, like yeah,
I would do it. Like I'm not usually afraid of spiders, mostly because I'm bigger than them, so I can stomp them.
Yeah.
But if there's a tarantula crawling on me, that's probably a different story.
Dude, I don't care if it's a big spider, small spider.
But I hate snakes.
Snakes. See, I don't mind snakes.
I don't like snakes.
Is there
I've held some. I still don't like them.
What's the snake phobia called?
I don't know.
Snakeophobia?
Snakeophobia? That's not it. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to name some weird random phobias.
Okay.
And you just tell me if you can guess what their
phobia
is. Alright. The first one is Xanthophobia. Xanthophobia. That's with an X.
Can I get a spelling on it? Many months later.
Xantho phobia.
Let's say fear of pills. Like
that's what it sounds like. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Fear of taking pills.
It's really the fear of the color yellow.
Yellow?
So if it's a yellow pill.
What do you do if you what do you do if you have to go to the bathroom?
You don't look. Or driving.
Yeah.
You just hope you don't get stuck at a yellow.
At a yellow light?
Alright, here's another one. Turophobia.
Turo.
Turo.
Fear of tortoises.
Fear of cheese.
Cheese?
So if you have that and xanthophobia.
Dude, you're out of luck.
What's white cheese?
Can be a Packers fan.
Here's one. The hint will be this is most teenagers.
Okay.
Most people today.
Okay.
Nomophobia.
Nomo.
It sounds like, I don't know if that's the right pronunciation.
Nomo.
It sounds like you get no-mo.
Nomo. Kind of sounds like FOMO.
Yeah.
Like fear of missing out.
Close.
Nomo, like you're fear of not having anything.
Specifically.
Not having your phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not having your phone.
That is me, dude. I always have to do the pocket.
Apparently this is really on the rise right now.
Dude, yeah, I mean now like it's phone first, wallet second,
wallet, keys.
and then mask now.
Oh, stupid mask.
I know, man.
I still I just keep a bunch in my truck because I still forget all the time.
I do too, and
I get to the grocery store still and I have to turn around and go get my mask.
Yeah.
All right. Bibliophobia.
Biblio.
This one's probably one of the easier ones.
I would say something like fear of God, fear of the Bible.
Fear of books.
Biblio. Oh yeah, books.
That now every teenager is going to use as an excuse not to do schoolwork.
Yeah.
Of course, everything's online now. Anyways, what does it matter? All right, last one. I don't even know how to say this one. Ephebiphobia.
Spell
EPHEBI phobia. Ephebiphobia.
Can I get a hint?
Is the fear of something.
Man, that
I'm
narrows it
trying
down.
to think of a good way to hint it. It has to do with a type of person.
Can you say it again? I feel like I'm like in those.
I don't
spelling
think it's
bees
gonna help you.
Where
The pronunciation
kids
is
like-
not gonna help.
for the kids like iridocyclitis.
Yeah. Can I get
Um,
it in a sentence?
Yeah. Wow, I guess. Fear of mascots.
Fear of teenagers. I don't know how one develops this fear. Not liking them is one thing.
Maybe
Being
just
afraid of
dating a parent and having a crazy kid.
Could be.
Are you crazy kids out there?
Developing phobias for people.
For your parents.
All right. So what's something that you're afraid of that maybe most people aren't afraid of? So obviously spiders is popular. What's something that like
Spiders. Is it like something deep or something that's like kind of funny?
wherever you want to take it?
Ooh. I'll go with something like light, something funny. Fear of farting on a date.
I wonder if that's a fear.
Dude, it definitely is. Cause like that's how you know that you and
I'm gonna search this real
dude
quick.
do it. Anyways,
While you talk about it.
whenever you and your girlfriend or girl that you're trying to date, whenever you can fart and she's cool with it, that's when you know. That's when you know you made it.
So there is a phobia for farting, fear of farting.
Yeah.
Flatulophobia, like
Flatuliophobia.
flatulence.
Flatua dating phobia.
It's just the fear of farting though. So you combine that with a date. I don't know if you get something else, but that's all I got.
Yeah.
That does take your relationship to a whole new level
It does.
when you're able to do that in person.
Yeah.
Until then, your stomach just really hurts because you just hold it in. At what point is it a number of dates? Is it whatever?
Okay.
Is it finally become okay? Is
I
it
feel like-
after you're married?
Okay, I feel like it'll come out in two different ways. Way one, where you're on like day 2 or 3, and like you and her just went on a cheap date to Taco Bell, and it just comes out, and it's just you and a her, so you can't blame it on
Yep.
somebody
No blame
else.
it on the dog.
Exactly. That's when you're like, yeah, I guess that we can do that now. That
So
or
it's kind of a okay.
You
we're
can
gonna
do
find
that.
out if this is a make or break moment.
or if you're super good at just keeping it in. Oh, I feel like after like a month of dating, you can just let it fly.
Let it fly, and then either she sticks with you or not.
Exactly. Depends on how bad it
It's
is.
like the deal breaker moment. Like,
That,
do
yeah.
you really love me or not?
Exactly. That's a turning point when you like know if she's real or if she's not.
You know, I've never thought about that being a defining moment in a relationship.
It
but
is.
I guess
though.
it really
Yeah,
is.
it is. Yeah.
That's kind of funny. So, okay, taking a turn then a little bit more serious with fears. Do you feel like we tend to let fears, rational or irrational, control us?
100%.
How so?
100%. Personally, I graduated from Northside last year,
Mm-hmm.
and probably about this time Christmas break, I had my parents were like, "Son, we need to start figuring out where you're gonna go to school." I was like, "Dude, like I'm about to graduate here in a semester. No clue where I want to go to school. Do I want to go to school? Do I want to go to the army? Do I want to be a podcaster?"
This is a big break.
I know, man. And so like that was a fear, and then so I really didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So my older brother, he's majoring in driving boats. So I was like, you know what, that sounds pretty cool. I started to look into all these schools. I'm like, dude, I'm not smart enough, or I can't afford that. So that fear just grew even more, right?
Mhm.
And then I found this school down in Texas that would give me a lot of financial aid. I was like, all right, sweet, I'm going there.
Mhm.
So I went there, and there's no dorms there because it's just a junior college. So I was gonna live with this dude. Long story short, he just wasn't a great guy. So like I'm in this huge city. Don't have a place to stay now. So I called my mom, like,
So you
Mom.
go to college and you're homeless.
Basically, I was like, Mom, like, I'm not gonna live with this dude. Like, he's nuts. I'm coming home. And so she found someone through a Facebook, like someone who knew someone. And so like now I just like rent out the second story of this person's house, and it's fine. But
Not how you thought about your college.
yeah, I
experience.
didn't think I would be living out of some random person's house, and I was like, you know what, like the fear is done, but but with COVID, I was by myself living with a random person, and my school is about half in person, so I couldn't really make much friends. So I'm in this city with no friends, living with some random person, and my fear just kept on getting bigger and bigger.
Mhm.
And
So what was really your biggest fear?
uh, just the fear of being by myself,
Mm-hmm.
cause like I've like always had a huge group of friends, and just that fear, like, man, like, should I transfer? Is this what I want to study? Like, it was just the fear of the like unknown. I was like, man, like, God, like, why did you put me here?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever all my friends are like having fun at college, and like I'm sitting here like alone by myself, and like I've never been by myself ever.
Dude, that's a. Let me ask you this. And this may not go where I want it to, but during this last semester, being alone. So now that you've been in it for a semester, like,
Yeah.
are you glad that you kind of gone through this? Has there been even any upside to
Yeah.
stuff that you've learned in the process, or
It definitely helped me grow up a lot.
okay?
Um, Definitely helped me grow up. I feel like if like I would have went to a big state school,
Mm-hmm.
I would not be in college right now.
You'd have done straight out.
Yeah, I probably would have partied hard until now. So I'm honestly glad that I got sent to a place where I could focus,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't like rainbows and sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad, and like, and it's really changed my like way of thinking about things. Like I
Yeah.
think like an adult and not as a child.
That's a huge step forward.
It is, it really is, and like, um, I was just by myself.
And like I met a couple church people, and like that's kind of like what like got me like feel like okay, like I'm not doing this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have like my like church group, and then I got like obviously God,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah.
Do you feel like so like back when you were in high school and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, even now, but you know, a lot of times we have fears that like completely take control of our lives. So I mean, you shared a big one there.
Yeah.
But was there other things that maybe a lot of us go through that sometimes are just irrational, but yet they control us because we allow it to?
Mhm.
Or maybe it's even serious, but like, did you ever face anything like that in high school or junior high or whatever, where like the fear of something just kept you from doing something or whatever the case may be?
I wouldn't know if like this is a fear, but fear of not knowing who I am. Cause I went through junior high and then senior high with one foot in the church door,
Mm-hmm.
and then one foot the just like partying door.
Mm-hmm.
And I would show up to church, you know, do a youth, volunteer, but also not do great stuff on
Mm-hmm.
Friday night and Saturday night. So like that was my fear kind of like God, like, I'm not sure and if I want to follow you or just kind of put you off to the side. And like, so like, I would do all the church stuff, do all the not so church stuff, and like still like I couldn't find like who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And like I kind of feared like, man, like if I go like and try and be a more godly person, what are my friends gonna think?
Mm-hmm.
Or if I try and hang out with just my friends and do not great stuff, what's God gonna think?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people fit in that category. So looking back on it now,
Yeah.
what would you do differently, or what kind of advice would you give to somebody who may be going through the same thing?
I feel like, oh, that's a big question. Dang,
That is a tough one.
it is
because-
tough.
But I feel like most teenagers go through that at some point.
Yeah,
We're
I
trying
feel-
to figure out who we are. Am I going to follow Jesus? Am I going to do my own thing? What are my friends? Because that's a fear in itself, is what are my friends going to think?
I feel like you shouldn't try and be something that you're not. As like cheesy as that sounds, definitely don't like. I'm not saying don't follow God, but don't like try and just check boxes just because like that's what a ton of people think Christians do. It's like don't lie, don't steal, don't do premarital sex. Like don't like try like force yourself to like do something. I would say definitely find a mentor, like you. Like I would talk to you about stuff that I couldn't talk to my parents about, and like that like got me through a lot of stuff. So like I'd probably tell someone who's listening to this, find someone who's been through what you've been through, someone who you can trust, and someone who's not gonna judge you.
No, that's good advice. That's good.
Yeah.
Do you think that we can learn to control our fears?
I would say, I would phrase it more like you can learn how to cope with them and deal with them. Because those fears, like there's always going to be something that you fear or you're like not sure about, insecure about. But there's ways of like talking to your mentor. Like hey Chris, I got this going on. What do you think I should do? You know? So like that like definitely helps. It's so like talking to somebody and not just like trying to do it by yourself, because like that's the worst thing you can possibly do, especially like all the dudes who are listening to this. Don't think that you can just face your fears by yourself, because that's when it gets worse.
Yeah, we don't want to tell people.
Exactly.
We're too prideful.
Exactly, but like most of our fears, like if you try doing it by yourself, it's just gonna grow worse.
I think what's funny about fears is like they can change based off of either learning like what you know or an experience you have. So like you can not be afraid of something like spiders, and all of a sudden you have a tarantula crawl across your chest, and now you have arachnophobia.
Yeah, man.
Right? But I think the same thing is true for a lot of times we're afraid of stuff, whether it be heights or the unknown, or going to, transferring from junior high to high school or whatever. I mean, we have all kinds of fears, and I don't think fears are necessarily bad. I think fears are bad when we allow them to control us and debilitate us.
Would you say though that fear in a way is good?
Yeah, I think fear keeps us from doing a lot of stupid stuff. Right? I'm afraid that if I jump off of a house with a cape on my back, I'm gonna break something.
Yeah.
It's not the best idea. So I think fear is good in that it gives us the ability to take in information and process information and determine, is this a good idea or not?
Right.
But I think on the other side though, there are times when we become afraid of something that completely like debilitates us. So, let's say, you're afraid of speaking in public or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going through. I mean, my job is to speak in public, but yet going through college and everything, like I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first classes in college, public speaking class.
Yeah.
Dude, I was scared to death. Even my first interview I ever went on, like I bombed it. It was terrible. Because I wasn't confident. So things like that, or like I think about my wife, who a lot of times she can just be so afraid or worried about stuff, and then it just completely begins to take control, to where now she can't really make a decision because she's so afraid of the outcome instead of letting it play out. So how do you think we begin to tackle that when that comes up? Like, does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, so like when the fear is like kind of overwhelming, how to deal
when
with
it like just freezes you and you can't do life anymore, or it's ruining relationships, or
man.
you know what I'm saying? Like I think we've all had those moments
Yeah.
where fear just like completely takes control, and then we don't know how to move past it, how to move beyond it. So what do you think are some ways that we can move past it?
Ooh. Is it good if like I say how like I personally do it?
Yeah.
All right, a couple of things. Like my biggest thing is like talking to people, whether it's your best friend, or your mom, your dad, or someone who you would trust. That way, it's just not all like balled up. You know. And like me, like so, like I'll call my best friend and be like, hey, I got this going on. I'm pretty stressed out about it. Like, it's scary. So, so I've told somebody. Now my next step is getting my mind off of it.
Okay.
Because if I don't, then I'm just gonna keep thinking about it, and it's just gonna get bigger and grab a hold of me. Keep on going. So like, I'll go to the gym. I'll go on a run. Like doing something physical like helps me a lot. And then praying about it.
Okay.
Like I think prayer is very underrated thing. I feel like people don't
I agree with that.
pray enough. And like I don't think I'm the best at praying, but I've learned it's not about how you're saying your prayer, it's about what you're praying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's funny. Anytime you ask somebody to pray, like they're like, I don't know how to pray.
Dude,
Or
you here when I think it was my junior high, so you might have been here. I was voluntold to like pray everybody out, right? I think I'm not sure if you were here. I think I was in like 7th grade.
I probably wouldn't hear them.
So I get up on a stage, and then I'm like, oh, I hate talking. So I'm like, what's up, God? What's up, God? Like everyone just loses it. I'm like, well, shoot. Like I like always start off all my prayers with what's up, God? It's me again.
Dude, I love it.
But dude, and then ever since then, or like for like maybe like a couple of years, like people, I just feel like, what's up, God? It's Sutton again.
Dude, I love it. Because I mean, all prayers is talking to God.
Exactly.
It's not,
like,
it doesn't have to be anything crazy and special. And
right.
Using specific words. And
Most.
That's a whole other talk in itself. But
I know most of my prayers, it's like, what's up, God? And then it's like 20 seconds, like, hey, I'm dealing with this. Get me through it. Show me what I'm doing wrong. Amen.
Dude, that's funny. I think that's a good point, though. I mean, I even think about like, you remember the story like of the storm on the sea, like in the Bible.
Yeah.
So we're talking Bible now, where Jesus is like sleeping in the boat. Like Jesus is sleeping in the boat, and everybody's afraid, and he comes and wakes them up. And they're like, what are y'all afraid of? And then he just like says, like, be still.
Yeah.
And like for him, it was this opportunity to teach them like what to do in the face of fear. So like he was calm. I mean, obviously he was God, so he could control whatever he wants. But it was like this object lesson of fear. And then like later on, he ends up. There's another time he tells him to get out on the boat.
Yeah.
Except this time he didn't go with him. And I'm probably gonna be like, oh great, are we gonna face another storm again? Yeah. But this time, dude, he starts walking on the water to them, so they think he's a ghost. And he says it's okay, don't be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with the apostles and his followers was they always they stayed afraid even till his death. Like even when it came time for Jesus to die, they all just disappeared because they were afraid.
Yeah.
And you're almost like, okay, if they were with Jesus and they are still afraid, how the heck are we supposed to do it?
Mm-hmm.
But what was interesting is even up until when he died and it was 3 days later and he rose from the dead, before they saw him, like they were hiding in a room because they were afraid. And at the moment they saw Jesus, that Jesus showed up to them, all of a sudden they realized that Jesus was for real in what he said. He's like, it's okay, you don't have to be afraid. Or take courage, I do not be afraid is what he says in Matthew 14. And so I think for us, I mean, obviously this is a very churchy answer,
Mm-hmm.
but God tells us all throughout the Bible, don't be afraid. Peter says in one of his things, cast all your anxieties, your fears to God. And so when you look at these guys who, even while Jesus was there, they spent their whole life being afraid, and then they realize, oh, Jesus is bigger than that. Jesus is bigger than our fears. And whether it's a rational fear or an irrational fear or whatever it is, I can go to God in that. So when we go and we pray and we say, Jesus, help me with this, like that's what he wants us to do.
Mm-hmm.
He expects us to call on him and say, hey, can you help me out with this? Because I'm afraid. And, I think sometimes we say that and we think it's supposed to be this like, something special is going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm all of a sudden going to be a superhero and you're not going to be afraid. But I think it's more like you just realize that, okay, God's bigger than this.
Right.
And if we really get down to it, ultimately we're all afraid of like death. Like everything leads to something like that.
Yeah.
And I think with the disciples, it was kind of, you get to that point where you're like, okay, this may suck. Like Jesus told them a lot in the Bible, like, this is going to be a tough life.
Yeah.
He actually told them, like, I think it was in Matthew 10, he's like, I'm basically sending you out like sheep to the wolves. Basically, you're the prey and they're going to attack you.
Dude,
and you're going to live this rough life,
I'd have been like,
but I'm with you.
I know. Have you seen that SpongeBob meme where it's like, all right, I'm a head out? No. Well, like, that would have been me. I'd be like, all right, I'm a head out, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not
He's
going
like,
to
you're going to do
like,
what?
Yeah, like, I'm not going to live this like terrible life where
Yeah.
I'm cast out to the wolves.
So, but I think about my life and I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid of stuff. And we all have stuff to work through. But at the end of the day, I realize, what happens in this life is temporary.
Exactly.
And ultimately, I'm going to be in eternity with Jesus. And so really the things I fear, okay, it's good to fear some things, it's healthy, but I can't let it control me. I got to take control of it. So I think that when we start putting on the lens of prayer and saying and looking through the lens of Jesus, you begin to realize that fear doesn't have to control you.
Right.
You can control it and you begin to take back charge of your life. Because I think so many people, if they would just learn that, there would be so much freedom in their life because fear has so much control. I mean, a lot of emotions do, but fear is a big one that just controls us and keeps us from stepping out and doing something that we want to do or
Right.
a dream or whatever because we're afraid of failure. It's like, well, you're going to fail if you don't start anyways. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole other road we can get down. I'm pretty sure we're going to run out of time here in a second, but yeah. Any last thoughts on that?
No, man. I mean, I think that you.
They did a good job on like talking about how fear it doesn't control you. You can control it.
Yeah, I think you have to. And listen, I get that it's easier said than done.
Right.
I think anxiety and fear and worry, they're all very real things. And when you're in the middle of it, like, you don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a good starting point, I loved all the things that you said on how you deal with it. You talk to somebody, you clear your head, and then you pray. Like, dude, that's a perfect summarization of where to start.
Right.
You know, and by no means are we telling you like, here's the end all be all.
Go
Go do this, and you're
5
gonna
miles.
be fearless. But it's a place to start to begin to overcome your fears. So, anyways, I appreciate you, man. I had fun on
Yeah,
this, man.
man.
I wish you were staying in town. We
I
could
know.
be my new permanent guest until Zach gets back.
Dude. Yeah.
So-
I mean, I've 2 more weeks. So I say that we get a second podcast going.
All right. Well, next week.
Yeah.
Be here next week.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in with us. Sutton will be back with us next week, and
Yes, sir.
we'll see what the heck we're talking about then. All right. See ya.